Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday, December 13th, 2023. My name is Kevin Smith. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Loud Majority Live. We got a jam-packed show for you guys this morning because yesterday something happened that is going to change the makeup of the House of Representatives after 2024 in a big, big way. Now, some of you may say this will be a good thing. Some of you may say this will be a bad thing. But nevertheless, it is going to change the makeup of the House of Representatives. The state of New York has thrown out our congressional maps. Now, what exactly does that mean? So, little background on this. Little background on how this works. Every 20 years, you take a census. That's how they figure out how many people live where. There's a number of reasons why they do this, both federal funding, state funding. There's many other implications of it, but the big reason they do it is so they can redraw district lines. They do this to figure out how many people have moved from one population area to another. That's why it's very, very important to take the census. Now, how does this affect us? Nationally, it affects us because, as I'm sure you know, many of your friends, many of your family no longer live in the blue hellhole that is New York. And because of that, all the district lines had to be redrawn going into the 2022 midterms. This happens every 10 years. And just so everybody knows, you're going to hear a lot of crap from people on both sides, and it's going to be disingenuous at best. Just know that when the state legislatures redraw district lines, they do it on a partisan basis. In New York, Democrats draw them to help them. In Alabama, they redraw them to help them. It's just kind of the way it happens. All right, so anybody out there who's telling you Democrats are only doing this to hold on to power, well, you know what? They do that in red states as well. It's important to provide serious context to that because a lot of people are going to lie to you. A lot of people are going to lie to you. Now, in 2022, new district lines were drawn. A lawsuit was filed because someone claimed that the maps were unconstitutional, and they were. Now, I know we're not allowed. I know if you are an establishment party hack, you're not allowed to say George Santos did something good. However, George Santos's lawsuit was the reason why the original maps were redrawn as they are now. What did we get from that? Well, New York got 7 new Republican congresspeople. Now, you can say whether or not that's a good thing. You can say whether or not that was a bad thing. However, this all stemmed because George Santos's original district went from Smithtown for the local audience, went from Smithtown all the way up to Rye Playland. Obviously an unconstitutional map. In fact, it even did that and cut out parts of Whitestone because that's a heavily Republican area. So those maps were thrown out, and then we got this. Let me pop the maps up onto the screen. Real quick. We're gonna be using this interactive map a lot today. These are the new maps here in New York. Now, obviously, some people can be very confused. Why are some of the districts gigantic? Like you have Elise Stefanik's district up here, that is huge, and then you have smaller districts down here like Nicole Maliotakis. It's based on population density. So the average congressional district represents about 700,000 people. The districts must not be encumbering. They must connect in some way, and they must be about average in size. This is the standard the Supreme Court has laid out over the course of the last several years, over the course of many challenges to electoral maps. Now, what people will do is they'll use a term, you're going to hear it a lot over the course of the next week or so. It's called gerrymandering. This comes from one of the first Congress people in Massachusetts, Aldridge Gerry. who drew a ridiculous congressional map so that he could stay in power following the writing of the Constitution. Now, why is this important? Why is this important? Because these maps that we just pulled up will no longer rue the day. Democrats are going to be able to redraw these maps. Now, what are you seeing? You're seeing a whole lot of red here. Elise Stefanik, Claudia Tenney, Nick Langworthy. All the gray areas are the seats that 270 to win sees as toss-ups. They have them listed as 5 different toss-ups. George Santos' seat, Anthony D'Esposito's seat, Mark Molinaro's seat, Mike Lawler's seat, and Brandon Williams' seat. Now, I want to make it very clear. I see one more toss-up in there. Don't worry, we'll get to him in a minute. Because I know you guys are watching. But let's pop over to the Long Island map. So basically, when George Santos filed this lawsuit, his congressional district here in the 3rd, if you guys can see this, it started right over here. And it went all the way up to here. Now it is far more concise. It is far more together. As you can see, Massapequa goes all the way right up to Whitestone. Nice and easy. Now, with that being said, any person who wants to tell you that New York itself, particularly Long Island and the downstate, you may be someone who lives in that area, we are solely responsible for delivering Kevin McCarthy the House majority. Now, what could we have done with that? Well, we could have leveraged our power to get things we want, like the SALT tax reinstated. We could have done that. No one did that. They could have done that. They chose not to. So what happens now that New York has redrawn its maps? The maps you just saw will be thrown away, and Democrats will find a way to sort of work districts together, draw innocuous lines in order to give them a better result. How do they do that? Well, let me draw you a little map. Do I have a pen here? Let me draw you a little map. Normally, gerrymandered districts, I'm going to draw you guys a picture, and I hope you can see it on the screen. Let's say this is a state. Can you see it? Let's say that's a state. And the outside of the state is mostly rural, mostly white, mostly well off. And in the center is a major metropolitan city. The fair way to draw the map would be like this. So that the inner city in the middle would have its own representation, and the outer districts would have their representation. More than likely, you get 3 Republicans and 1 Democrat. The way many people will draw these lines is they will cut the area in half or into quarters, therefore disenfranchising the voters inside of that district, and that's how you get 4 Republican seats. As I said, everyone does it. Republicans do it, Democrats do it. It doesn't, one way or the other, it's going to happen. I hope everybody was able to see that ridiculous drawing. I hope everybody was able to see that. Now, what does that mean? It means that New York is going to lose a lot of Republican seats. There's no doubt about it. Let's go back to 270 to win and the big board. I have long said that these 4 seats we were probably going to lose. But what else does it mean? I'm sorry, these 5 seats, excuse me. This also hurts the person running in the 18th district here against Pat Ryan, Allison D'Esposito. It's going to hurt her. Will this hurt former GOP chairman Nick Langworthy? Possibly. Claudia Tenney, who in the last bunch of maps, in 2020 won her election by 78 votes. Won our election by 78 votes. So let's just see here. That would be 1 if we include Congresswoman Tenney there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Right now, Republicans hold control of 11 seats in Congress. Could we go down to 4? I predict, and this is my bold prediction right off the bat, I predict that the only Republicans that will be left following the 2024 race will be Andrew Garbarino, Elise Stefanik, Nicole Maliotakis, and Nick Langworthy. That's my prediction. All the other Republicans will be out. They already did a phenomenal job removing George Santos. I'm still not exactly sure why. Time out. I know exactly why. But I'm not sure the actual reasoning why. And this is what I talk about a lot on this show. I talk about it quite often, and nobody seems to be listening. Nobody in power, at least. Republicans, for a long time, have done this thing where, and I would say with the exception of about 3 of them, they do this thing where they believe deep down in their souls that if they're fair and balanced, that they will be able to get Republicans, they will be able to get Democrats to go, all right, well, they're a moderate, they're not a MAGA extremist, they're not an ultra MAGA Republican, so I'll vote for them. Of course, that never ends up happening. But what it does do is it creates moderates. It creates uniparty establishment hacks. It creates future CNN hosts like Adam Kinzinger. And because of that move to the middle, it disenfranchises, not disenfranchise, that's the wrong word. It disincentivizes. It disincentivizes people like me, people like you, the activist base, from wanting to help these people. So, when your congressional lines change, and you're now in a tight race because you don't have Lee Zeldin's coattails to hold on to, what will happen? I know people from upstate New York, and I know people here on Long Island who have openly told me in public that they will skip over their congressman at the ballot box due to inaction, due to, sending $150 billion to a cokehead in a tracksuit over in Ukraine. What will this mean for the House majority moving forward? Well, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a hell of a lot harder, and we'll get to that in 1 minute. Before we do that, guys, hit the thumbs up button. Share this video out all over the place. I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in. We're going to be talking more and more about this at the current moment, in just a moment, because to be quite honest with you, I think that this is not going to end very well. This is not going to end very well for Republicans. Not going to end well at all. So, guys, hit the thumbs up button. Share the video out. If you're new to the channel, do hit the follow button at the bottom of the screen. Make sure you never miss out on anything we've got going on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, live at 8 a.m. Live at 8 a.m. Before we get to that, Mike Lindell.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our biggest Christmas sale ever. You get our brand new 6-piece My Towels for only $29.98. Or rejuvenate your bed with a MyPillow mattress topper as low as $99.99. Or how about MyPillow bed sheets for as low as $24.98? There's something for everyone. Duvets, quilts, down comforters, body pillows, bolster pillows, and so much more. Well, I know My Pillow products make for the perfect Christmas gifts, so I'm going to extend my money-back guarantee until March 1st, 2024. So go to MyPillow.com now or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get huge discounts on all My Pillow products. For example, you get our 6-piece towels for only $29.98. Or get your very own My Pillow bed sheets for as low as $24.98. It's our biggest Christmas sale ever. Get all your shopping done now while quantities last.
Guys, head on over to MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD. That's MyPillow.com. Promo code LOUD for up to 80% off everything on the website. MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD. Guys, if you're looking for Christmas gifts, make sure you get them now while there is enough time. So many people are asking, Kevin, why are you saying these things? Why are you saying these things? You know, what justification do you have to say that all these congressional maps are going to go away? We had sweeping Republican wins. Lee Zeldin came within, 300,000, 400,000 votes and winning the whole state. Why will they go away? Well, let's pop this back up onto the screen. Let's look at the 2020 presidential race. New York won. Joe Biden won it by 0.2 points. New York 2, he won it by 1.5 points. Those are strongly held Republican seats. And as you can see going down the list, Joe Biden won Anthony D'Esposito's district by almost 15 points. And right down the list. The whole world changes in electoral politics when it is a presidential year. I've long predicted New York will go 60-40. In the last election, it went about 65-35, and I know there are people in the chat who are going to say that didn't happen. I don't know what to tell you. There are no other numbers to use, so we have to use those because there's nothing else out there. And unless you can prove to me that there was, I don't know. Never mind. I'm not even going to get into that because I already know where the hell that's going to go. I already know where that's going to go. So, what does this mean for the rest of the nation? We lose 7 Republican seats. There goes the House majority right there. Now, you would think some people would understand that. And I want to make it very clear. If I'm Democrats in this race, moving into 2024, I'm taking New York 3, and I'm going to make that as Republican as humanly possible. Why? Because House Republicans have done their damnedest to drive no, and I mean zero, voter enthusiasm. They don't even have a candidate yet to run in the special election that's going to happen in like 85 days. They don't even have a candidate yet. They have done nothing to make people want to go out and vote. I mean, seriously, if you're living anywhere in the state of New York, can you tell me what your congressman has done to make you want to put on your winter coat in November and go knock on doors for them? Can you tell me that? This is what Republicans do. They do it all over the country, and they do it every single year. They give their constituents no reason to vote for them. That you never see them. Have you seen your quick, serious question. Unless your congressman is George Santos, have you seen your congressman here in the state of New York? Do they exist? Or are they just a figment on an MSNBC hit? Because you know they're not going on Fox, because that could be triggering to the moderate voters in their district. You, me, the rest of the loud majority, the amount of work we did for candidates throughout the last 3 years, you think I'm getting off my couch? It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. You did this to yourselves. You did it to yourselves. And to be quite honest with you, I would rather rent a bus and take the 50 most important activists from here on Long Island take a trip to Philadelphia, take a trip to the middle of Pennsylvania, and go do voter work out there. A state where people are actually trying to kick ass. I'd rather take you all down to Georgia and win that one. Then what? Stay here and help people that are actively trying to expel Matt Gaetz from Congress? Oh, yeah, that's coming. Oh, that's coming. Why would I want to help you? Just remember, guys, that sinking feeling you have inside on election night when the results come in, just know you have no one to blame but yourself. I get people like Mike Lawler. He's already got a job lined up at CNN. Him and Adam Kinzinger are going to sit there and pretend to be the reasonable Republicans on CNN. I don't know what the rest of you are going to do. I don't know. Probably go back to the Board of Elections and suck at the government tit for the rest of your life. You guys got nobody to blame but yourselves. No one to blame but yourselves. Alrighty, guys, we are going to wrap up the show right here. I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in today. If you're watching on Twitter, please retweet the space. If you're, please retweet the video. If you are watching on Rumble, hit the thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. We had a bigly audience on Rumble today. Super excited. I'm happy that people are starting to migrate over to that platform. If you're still watching on Facebook, if you're still watching on YouTube, quite frankly, I do not know what the hell you are doing. Rumble.com/LoudMajorityUS. Help us build out the parallel economy by getting off of these big tech censorship platforms that give backdoor access to the intelligence agencies, all while our congressmen do jack shit about it. Guys, head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Check out our shop. Use promo code RUMBLE. That's promo code RUMBLE for 20% off everything on the website. Make sure you guys get your orders in as soon as possible to ensure that you have it by Christmas. That's loudmajorityusa.com. Use promo code RUMBLE to get 20% off everything on the website. I want to thank you guys all so much for tuning in. I'll be back on this channel live Friday morning. If not, I'll be back on LFA TV, rumble.com/LFA TV at 1 p.m. today. Guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. Hit the like button, hit the thumbs up button on the way out the door. And until this afternoon, everybody, stay loud.